Three, two, one.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to SEN After Live. I am J Wade.
And I'm Kalyn.
And holy shit, fuck Batman, have we got one today. Haha, that's right, guys. We are now on episode number 5 of this SEN Live After Show. And Kalyn and I are pleased to welcome our guest this week. He is on a YouTube channel, Star Wars Explained, with his wife Molly, who has also competed in the Schmoedown Star Wars division. He is right now the movie trivia Schmoedown Star Wars division champ. He will also be defending that title tomorrow at the Schmoedown Spectacular 4. So we're looking forward to that. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Wookiees and Ewoks alike, Alex the Demon Damon. Welcome, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm still not used to the Demon nickname. I don't know why.
You know, I actually, our producer here, Josh, about an hour ago, he and I were talking about your nickname, and I said, I was trying to figure out what the demon has to do with Star Wars, and aside from that, he's just such a nice guy. I don't get it.
Christian told me that it was just because of how quickly I answer the questions, and I guess it kind of sounds like Damon.
Yeah,
that's my best guess. Yeah, I remember the first one I was the explainer, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And then the second time I walked out, Christian just called me the demon, and I was like, oh, okay.
So you had no clue that was coming then, the second time?
Not at all.
That's interesting. But you didn't mind, obviously.
No, it's fine.
That's great. I love it. It just pulling one out on you right there on the spot. Go Christian.
So we all know you, everyone in this space knows you, of course, from the Star Wars division of the Schmoedown, and of course from your podcast, your YouTube channel, Star Wars Explained. So how in your life did you actually get into Star Wars?
That's my dad's fault. Yeah, we were just out and about. I'm from Atlanta, and in '96 the Olympics were here, and we were down at the Olympic Village before the Olympics were here, but there were a bunch of people in costume, and to this day I don't know why, but one of them was Darth Vader, and I just kind of got fixated on that character, and I had to have been 8 or so, and so my dad started explaining to me who Darth Vader was, and that was my very first introduction to Star Wars. That night we went home and watched a VHS that my parents had taped off of like TBS. And so we watched the movie and fast forwarded through commercials, and I fell in love with it. And I think I watched that tape until it broke, and then they bought me the whole trilogy.
Oh, wow. So it's been a part of your entire life, essentially.
Just about, yeah.
Wow. And so at what point in your life did you decide, okay, I'm going to devote a big chunk of my life to Star Wars and start this YouTube channel? So what was that journey like?
That was in 2014, and it kind of built up from just a love of trivia in general. I mean, growing up with Star Wars, I had a friend who lived down the street, and we would just read all the books together, and then go to school the next day or be on the bus and be like, oh, did you read this or did you read that? And then we would get reference books and the essential guides to characters and vehicles and stuff, and we just got really into the trivia side of things. And for some reason, it all stuck in my head, and I've always just been good at Star Wars trivia. Then there's this convention called Dragon Con in Atlanta, and it's just fantasy and sci-fi, and that's it. And they have an insanely difficult Star Wars trivia competition every year. I first tried it in 2012 and did okay, and I was like, I could do better. And then I did it in 13 and 14, and every year I was like, I could do better, and I should be studying, and if I just studied, I would maybe win. So that was really the inspiration, was trivia. And I started making videos that were basically just videos of my own research and saying, like, here's a minute on a character, here's a minute on a planet, just trying to get that stuff into my head. And I didn't really expect it to be like, I'm going to devote my life to Star Wars. It was just studying for a trivia contest, but people seemed to enjoy it and started subscribing, and it grew wildly out of control.
Yeah, because your YouTube channel used to be called Star Wars Minute.
Yes.
Yeah, my husband and I subscribed to it long before we even like connected it to the Schmoedown and to Collider and all of that. And then at some point we're like, hey, wait, these things are crossing paths. This is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I was Star Wars Minute because at the time, every Star Wars video that I saw on YouTube was like 20, 30 minutes long. And I was like, I don't have time for this. So I was just like, I'll read Wikipedia and I will then distill it down into just here are the basics about character. I had no idea at the time that there was a podcast called Star Wars Minute, a really great podcast. And then as we both continued to grow, they very nicely were like, hey, would you mind switching your name? And I was getting away from the Minute thing anyway. So I switched, but they are super cool guys.
Well, that's awesome. I wonder if you and them ever got crossover by accident. Like someone's like, I really like this YouTube channel. Let me see if I can find it in podcast form, or vice versa. and
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So I take it you're keeping up with everything Star Wars right now?
Yep. All the Mandalorian, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I hear there's a movie coming out soon.
You hear?
Oh.
I hear talk of that too.
But yeah, I that's
yeah.
basically my job now. Is I've just taken it upon myself to read, watch, play everything that comes out and keep up with the new canon.
Awesome.
Yeah, and speaking of the Mandalorian, and I kind of want to tie this kind of a double question here. I want to tie this in with trivia, actually. What are your thoughts on the Mandalorian so far? And if they were to introduce trivia questions right now, just on the first 5 episodes, 4 or 5 chapters that we've seen so far, depending on if you've watched chapter 5 yet, no spoilers. How do you think you would fare in a Mandalorian trivia contest right now for the episodes that you've seen so far, as well as your thoughts on it?
I think I'd do pretty well because it's so new that they haven't had to mine for deep questions yet. That's what, like, if I ever spin The Last Jedi or if I spin Solo in round 2, I'll be like, oh, great, because so many of the other categories have just been asked to death, and you're only getting deep cuts now. So I feel like the questions would be pretty softball for the Mandalorian. And as for the show itself, I'm really enjoying it. I mean, I knew I would like it, but it's different than I thought it would be, but in a good way. It's beating my expectations.
That's awesome. Do you have a favorite episode so far?
Oh, 3 for sure.
Nice.
I don't want to get into spoilers, but just there's something in that episode that I was like, I never thought I would have seen this in live action. And the fact that we are, it's just a great time to be a Star Wars fan.
Yeah,
For sure.
If I would have thought about it, I would have come up with a few questions, some real deep cuts from the Mandalorian, like in episode 2, how many blaster bolts do we see? Just really try to stump you.
I don't,
man.
J Wade, I don't know if between you and me we're the people to come up with deep cut Star Wars questions.
No, I tried. Believe me, I had this grand idea I pitched to Kalyn last night, but I was just, I could not come up with anything. I was like, man, there's just the only thing I could really think of was, which I'm sure you know this, but what is the name of the owner of the Mos Eisley Cantina during New Hope?
Chalman.
Yep. See, I knew you'd knew that, but that's to me, that's a deep cut, So.
Oh, that's a deep cut.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's definitely a deep cut. Is the name even ever stated in the actual
movie?
No.
It's just like an IMDb kind of thing.
Yeah.
Wikipedia all the way.
So you mentioned also Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker. Is it The Rise of Skywalker or just Rise of Skywalker?
The Rise.
It is The Rise. Okay. Not that the thes don't matter, because there's more than one word. We've learned from watching Schmoedown. So, what sort of theories? Have you come up with any theories of your own, or are there any theories floating around out there that you really adhere to and are kind of hoping happen in Episode 9? Because I'm sure there's like a billion of them out there.
Probably my biggest hope is that I really want to see a Stormtrooper rebellion. And the fact that we're getting these Sith troopers who have red armor, and that's a very stark contrast to the white. My hope is that the First Order Stormtroopers, just your standard white ones, are going to follow Finn's lead and join the side of good. And the red Sith troopers will be the enemies. And so we can very clearly tell who's good and who's bad in this final battle. But I love that idea that Finn isn't just a bug in the system. He's kind of showing the way and will help his former peers turn. And I also think that that's just a nice arc to give the Stormtroopers, because these white armored faceless troopers have been a part of every single Star Wars trilogy. And I really like the idea that they kind of get to collectively have their own redemption.
That's really awesome.
Like that.
Yeah.
That is something I never would have thought of in a million years.
Well, and see, I personally have just stayed away from a lot of stuff because I'm like, I just want to go in as blind as I can. But obviously, with it being your job, you're not allowed to do that.
I try to do that as well. I don't look up theories online. So this is just from reading everything else and seeing, like, they really are touching on certain things a lot in the comics and the books. And I wonder why that is. And my hope is that it will be for this specific thing. But I'm trying not to get my hopes up about it, where if it doesn't happen, it's like, well, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I think that's sort of what happened with The Last Jedi to a lot of people. I think it wasn't that they hated it as much as they think they do. I think it's that they had so many ideas, and when the movie wasn't what their ideas were, they just rebelled. Whereas I went into it with no ideas. I was just like, I'm going to see more of these people.
Yeah.
As you can tell, I'm a very casual Star Wars fan. So I don't have all the deep knowledge and all the connections. I don't even have, my husband can talk about this stuff way better than I can and absolutely loves talking about it. So I should have made him come in here and talk to you a little bit. He would have been so excited.
Yeah. I love talking about Star Wars. I'm not the most knowledgeable guy, but I'm the guy who I know quite a bit about the movies, more than the average fan, and I certainly know a lot more of the book, comic, animated canon than the average fan would, at least around where I live. But then, to be honest, most of my friends are the Marvel fans, and that's something I don't get. But you give me Star Wars, I like you, Alex. I grew up on that. I mean, we had New Hope on VHS, but then we had was it Empire Strikes Back? We had on the big discs. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yes, Laserdisc. I wore that thing out, man. And then we had VHS for Return of the Jedi. But yeah, I just love Star Wars. But yeah, there's no way I could ever compete in just Star Wars questions. I think my brain would fry. So yeah,
you're a beast.
When I first saw you come on there, introduced, and I put the connection together, like Kalyn, I was a subscriber before I realized you were in the Schmoedown, and I was like, yes, dude. I'm curious how did you get introduced to Christian, and how did you get your way into the Schmoedown?
I think my first Schmoedown match that I saw online was the one with Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sam Witwer, and that obviously pulled me in. And then I got hooked onto just the Schmoedown because I like movie trivia and in general. So I would just watch along, and I was having fun with that. And then at Star Wars Celebration 17, in Orlando. They were doing a live one there, and so I think I had just randomly started following people on the Schmoedown and on Collider Jedi Council, and one of them was Ken, and then Ken reached out to me and was just like, "Oh, thanks for the follow. I'm a fan of your stuff." And I was like, "Oh my god!" And we just started talking. So then when we got to Celebration, we just started running into each other, and he was like very cool in helping me getting into like the Schmoedown specific panel, because we're at Celebration to have fun, but also we have a lot of work to do. And so he was like, "Don't worry, you're going to have time to do your work. Just like come into the side door." And that was all a lot of fun for me. But yeah, we just met Ken and Christian and Mark and everyone from Collider at that Celebration. And then Christian was like, "Do you have any interest in doing this?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." So that was it.
Awesome.
Now, are you actually living in Los Angeles?
No, I still live in Atlanta.
Okay, so you fly out there for
Yep.
matches.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that is commitment.
Yeah.
Well, it's, part of the brand, I guess. Like, it's a business expense, in my opinion, because if I'm supposed to be talking about Star Wars, it's good to occasionally prove that I can talk about Star Wars.
Oh, I think you've more than proved that you can talk about Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. And you should definitely be hitting Christian up for a spot on a live Schmoedown when they go to Atlanta. Be like, "Dude, I have to be in this one."
Oh, yeah. I saw they're doing that in February.
Yes.
I believe so,
I might. We'll see how tomorrow goes, but I might try for an Inner Geekdom. I've had my eye on doing that for a while.
Well, all the times you've flown out to LA, man, come on, Christian. Put the guy up there in his hometown where he don't got to travel across the country.
I mean, I'll at least be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So, of the competitors you've actually played against so far, who would you like to play again? And of whoever is out there, whether it's in Star Wars or now you've mentioned Inner Geekdom, who you have not gotten to play, who would you love to play?
Well, I mean, Sam Witwer is my white whale at this point. I don't know that. I totally understand that he is super busy and can't just commit time to be in a trivia contest, but I still want to crack at him. As for Inner Geekdom, I would love to play like Smeds or Kalinowski, but I know that they would just rip me apart. Like, I would need to have a really lucky day to go toe to toe with them, or Cushing as well. So I don't know. That's a tough one.
Other than Star Wars, what would you think what would your strong category be? Would you say?
Middle Earth is probably
all right.
Like on par with my Star Wars knowledge. Indiana Jones, even though that doesn't have its own slice, but it is part of Inner Geekdom. I said Marvel, I'm okay at. Like, Marvel, the MCU is my casual fandom, where I just I go and I watch the movies and I have fun, and that's it. Like, I want to keep up with the universe, but I don't read the comics, and I don't get into as deeply as I do with Star Wars. So that is very hit or miss for me.
So, with the Spectacular happening tomorrow, how are you feeling about going up against Kelly?
Scared. At Celebration, that was her first time competing. There was a question that she got. I think it was her last question, and it was, what blue droid is Leia's assistant in The Force Awakens? Something like that. And I remembered that it started with PZ, and that's all I had. And I think that probably would have been accepted, but she just bust out PZ4CO. And I was like, oh shit. Like, she really, really knows her stuff. And she just barely didn't win. Scrimshaw squeaked it out at the last second. And then I was watching her latest match with Andrew. And I was playing along, and if I had gotten all of her questions, I would have beaten her. But if I were in Andrew's seat and I got all of his questions, she would have beaten me by 1 point. So,
wow,
it's anyone's game. She really knows her stuff.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
I'm so excited for this. I really am.
And of the spectacular matches, that is the one that I'm like, I have no idea how this is going. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you never do because you don't know what you're going to spin. You don't know what questions you're going to get. But I'm really like, I have no idea. Also, because we have so much less tape on anyone in Star Wars versus other categories where they play matches all the time. So, well, I'm excited for it, and we're of course always rooting for you. Well, we root for everyone. It's hard not to root for everyone, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited for you, and I know that you're going to do great. So, J Wade, you got some last questions you want to ask?
Yes, ma'am, I sure do. Alex, this question actually submitted by our producer, Josh. He also does a podcast for Merc with a Movie blog, which he is the owner of, called Talkin' Schmoedown. But he wrote out this question, and boy, it's a good question. It's a little hefty here, but I really like it. Are you ready?
Yeah.
As you continue to win and be dominant in the Star Wars League, and the fans rise you higher and higher on the pedestal of legends, have you noticed the pressure getting bigger and bigger, or do you just approach it each match the same on their own?
I think I just approach it the same. Honestly, I think that it's almost gotten easier just getting used to being in front of that many people, especially like almost all of my matches, I feel like, have either been big events or they've been live. I think this is my third live one. And you just got to like go in with the understanding that to a degree it's out of your hands. I mean, I think every time I played Joseph Scrimshaw, he's gotten a question that I just thought was absurd. And it's partly luck. So I don't know. I just go in hoping to have fun. And if I lose, I lose. It's okay. I'll come back and I'll win the belt later.
I like that attitude, man. This question just popped into my head as you were talking there. Of all the people who you have played, was there anyone that you just went in thinking you were going to dominate them, completely confident, and they came out completely shocking you as to how close it was and how well they did? Is there any one specific time you can remember that?
Not really. Everyone has pretty much like made it difficult for me. I think all of my matches, except for the one against poor Bruce Green, which was like he didn't have any time to prepare. It was so not fair for him. I was bummed for him. But every other match, when people had a chance to study and everything, I think it's gone to the last question. So yeah, everyone always comes out to play.
You just make it look so easy, and like you said, they're all really close matches. But I don't know, for some reason, you specifically to me just make it seem so easy, dude, and it amazes me to watch. But curious, with the draft coming up this coming season, who would you like to draft you?
I'd be happy with anyone. Smets told me they had their eye on me. I mean, I like Emma a lot. Whoever, I'm not really picky. I was honestly kind of surprised that Star Wars was going to be included in it. So I'm like, yeah, I'm excited to just be involved.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're definitely going to be watching that draft, and good luck on this week's or on the this year's draft. Good luck on tomorrow's Schmoedown, dude. Just wow. I can't tell you how excited I am for this. I love, of all the trivia, the Star Wars it excites me more than anything. And on that note, I do have one final question for you. It's a trivia question.
Okay.
Now,
yeah,
this is a common question asked, and it's been debated for years and years. But there's only one really correct question. Now, this is a trick question, dude. In the infamous New Hope Cantina scene, who shot first?
I mean, do you want... If they asked me that,
answer.
Yeah, it's
Give
Greedo.
It to me.
It's Greedo.
What?
But if well, listen, that's what happens in the special edition, and that's what's canon now. But if they asked me that on stage and I knew that they wanted Greedo, I still might say Han Solo.
Okay, let me revise it a little bit then.
Okay.
In the original theatrical cut, who shot first? Now, listen to the wording. Who shot first?
Well, I mean, Han was the only one that shot.
Thank you. I've been having that debate with people for years with the Han shot first shirt. My saying is Greedo never shot.
Yeah.
I think, is it Darina who says Han shot only?
Oh, I've not heard her say that, but I really like that.
Han shot only. It's not Han shot first. Han shot only. Now, being young and not having parents who cared about Star Wars, I have not had the pleasure of seeing some taped version of the original or anything like that. So I have no idea. And that really hurts my heart that I cannot see the original trilogy, like in its real original form. And I don't know anyone who is hardcore of enough fan to, I know people are like, yeah, I saw it in theaters. I remember doing that, but not hardcore enough to be like, this is what happened and this is how awesome it was. And, but I do absolutely love listening to the Star Wars trivia because it blows my mind. I can hang a little bit in the other categories. I cannot hang in Star Wars. I'm just like, this is so far beyond me.
Yeah, I mean, every time they go deeper and deeper, and there were questions the last time where I was just, I don't even know. So now every time I study, I'm going deeper and deeper and hoping it's deep enough.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, keep at it, bud. You're doing great. Really looking forward to the match. And no matter what happens, like you said, if Kelly takes you, then you can just come back and take it right back from her.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Alex, we appreciate you giving us your time very much. Is there anything you'd like to plug? Your YouTube, anything at all? Feel free to do so.
Yeah, sure. Our YouTube channel is Star Wars Explained, and we're on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all those places. And we talk about all the new Star Wars content kind of from a trivia point of view.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent. Again, thank you very much. And everybody, be sure to check out the movie trivia Schmoedown Spectacular 4. That is tomorrow. And Alex here is defending his title in the Star Wars division. Have a great week, sir, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Everybody, we will be right back after this very quick promo pause for some other podcasts from Merc with a Movie Blog. See you on the other side.
Hey everybody, Sean and Wade here to tell you about our new review show following each episode of Disney Plus's The Mandalorian.
Dude, yes, Boba Fett!
Not exactly, Wade. Set in the Star Wars universe, The Mandalorian takes place 5 years after Return of the Jedi and follows a Mandalorian bounty hunter beyond the reaches of the New Republic.
Yeah, Boba Fett.
Did you even watch Return of the Jedi? Never mind. Join us here every week on the Merc with the Movie Blog feed. Thank God Kalyn will be here too. I don't think I can handle Wade on my own.
Hi everyone, this is Sarah, host of Go Get That Rose podcast, a podcast that is dedicated to talking about all things Bachelor Nation. Join J Wade, a man in his 40s who is recently new to all things Bachelor Nation, and myself, someone who has been watching passionately for the past 3 years, as we review, share our thoughts on each episode of whatever show is currently on TV, whether that is Bachelor, Bachelorette, or Bachelor in Paradise. We might not even know everyone's name, but we have fun nonetheless. You can find us on Merc with a Movie Blog feed wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey there, Schmoedown fans. This is Josh the Merc Rainer, and I am here to tell you about my show, Talkin' Schmoedown. Whether it's Andrew Guy getting hit with a chair, John Roca screaming, outlaw, or the emotional retirement of the Shire Wolves, I talk about it all. So you can catch me right here on Anchor and all the other major podcasting platforms. So, as I ask every episode, are you ready to talk Schmoedown? I am.
Hey, it's Sarah, and I'd like to tell you about Afterlife. It's a weekly Collider Live after show podcast where Mike, Sean, and I give our takes on Roxy and Dorinda's antics, on Yodi's producing skills, and whatever Cody and Alex are up to in that booth. In addition to having guests, we expand on the crew's discussions and add our own craziness in the mix. You can find the show on Merc and Movie Blog feed on all the podcasting platforms. See you soon!
And be sure to check out those other shows that you just heard about from Merc with a Movie Blog. You can find that wherever you find podcasts. So we just had ALEX DAMON on, and that was a really great interview.
Yeah, he's fun.
He was.
I don't think I could ever know an eighth of the Star Wars stuff that he does.
I don't think I could ever know 1/100th of what he knows.
And you're a math teacher, so that's a hefty statement coming from you. College math at that. So yeah, that means a lot.
Oh my God. Well, okay, so we know that tomorrow he's competing for one of the belts that are up for grabs tomorrow at the Spectacular. So why don't we go ahead and jump into our conversation about the Schmoedown from this week. So let's see. This week we had round 3 matches. And there was Shazam versus the Looney Bin and the Family versus Who the Boss. So we can start with Shazam versus the Looney Bin. Shazam ultimately won, but there was a really interesting challenge in the middle of that I know you're not too thrilled with.
No, I'm not thrilled at all. And now I just want to, as always, whenever I'm talking about things and I'm not happy with something or I disagree with something, like in the big scheme of the world and life, it is so insignificant. Like it's not something that's life altering for me, but this call on the American Psycho question, it kind of pissed me off a little bit. They came back. Well, okay, so first of all, the question, the category was horror, not even horror thriller, horror, and the answer was American Psycho, and Drew challenged it, saying that it's not horror. They took a minute or however long it took to check it out, and they come back and they ruled that it was not listed as a horror. Now I'm correct about that, right?
Right. So,
okay. Yes.
What I remember is the actual category was horror thriller, but within the words of the question, it said this horror movie, blah, 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 blah. So They made it out like it was a horror movie, and she argued it was not. They went to IMDb. It's not a horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even, thriller wasn't even listed either. It was
like crime drama or something.
Yeah. So it was not a horror movie. So it's in the category of horror thriller. It's not a horror. Was it in the category of horror thriller?
That was the category, but in the wording of the question, but
still horror is the main focus.
Yes. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure because it's, like you said, it had horror in the question. So perhaps it wasn't horror thriller, but I was 99% sure it was the category was horror. So the point is, it was ruled that it's not listed as a horror. So therefore, the entire question should have been thrown out. The category is horror. And so if you're not going to ask a horror question, then it might as well be miscellaneous category. But I don't know. And from what I understood, the reason they ruled the way they did and allowed the points to be kept by the other 3 competitors, then gave another question to Video Drew, was because the other 3 competitors all got the right answer and they didn't want to penalize them for answering right when the Schmoedown company and whatnot company, you know what I mean, corporation, when they messed up on their end. But that doesn't matter. I mean, it's the game, and they were in a specific category. It wasn't in that category. It should have been completely thrown out and a new question asked to everyone.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I do find that, I don't know if you've noticed this, I feel like when Mark or Christian is on the desk, they tend to try to be more compromising with things when, I mean, this is a game. It has rules.
Mm-hmm.
It has stakes.
Mm-hmm.
And not everyone gets a trophy because they participated.
Exactly.
So I feel like you're going to have to make some tough calls. You're going to have to piss some people off. And I think you need to look more closely at the rule book. And obviously they don't have an official rule book, but they do have precedent. They do have the rules that they have stated. And I have not thought about it the way you have until this moment. And I can totally see that point of view, though, that if you're saying this movie is not in this category, then it cannot be a valid question. Therefore, it needed to be thrown out. And that could have changed some stuff. Because
yes, it very well could have.
What ended up happening was that question ended up being a wash. Everyone ended up getting the points because the other three players at the table all got that right. Video Drew got her replacement question right. So...
but imagine if she'd not gotten that question right. That would have been like a double FU, kind of.
Yeah, and what if the replacement question, which, I mean, I don't know, maybe everyone would have gotten that one right too and nothing would have changed. But maybe a member of Shazam would have gotten that one wrong.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I can totally see
I
where
feel
you're
really
coming
bad for that call, man. It just... I'm just gonna say it, man. In my opinion, and I ain't like seriously mad at anybody, but in my opinion, as a fan of the game and of sports in general, that was a piss poor call, and I feel bad for Video Drew and Tom. They played excellent. I mean, excellent. I don't know. That's how I feel about it.
Win the challenge to an extent.
Yeah, but you can't, like you said, there are rules. There are rules or there aren't rules. You know what I mean? It's like you get pulled over for not wearing a seatbelt, Now, if I have it under my arm, so like it's half on, but it's not clicked in, is the cop going to be like, oh, well, it's kind of half on and not, it's almost there. So, you tried and you're close. So we'll call it a wash, no ticket. It's cool. Just make sure and click it in now. And maybe that's a bad example, but you get what I'm saying. And I really hope that, and Christian said that they're going to make like an official rules book and all of that crap next year. And that's awesome. I haven't heard if he said if they will, but I really hope he makes that public for all of us fans to be able to read and break down and follow along.
When they announced that on backstage, I wrote in the question and said, will you make that public to the fans? And he basically said, I don't know about that. That'll open a can of worms, and then moved on. So
I don't understand. What is there?
I don't know.
I'm not saying that he's trying to hide anything, but it's when you've got rules and it's like if baseball, they're like, we're changing up some rules next season. And we're making out this whole new big rule book, and we're giving it to all of the managers. Each player on each team is going to get this new rule book. All the GMs, everyone's getting one. And then it's like, but we're not going to tell you fans what the rules are exactly, because it might open a can of worms, whatever that means.
And for the general fan who's super casual, they probably could not care less. But for people like us who are, talking about this stuff and analyzing it, I have built a mental rule book just out of stuff I've heard the people on the desk say. Yeah. So, and you don't know when something changes. And I still don't fully understand the whole "the" thing, when you have to, I know that if there's only one word after it, you have to put the "the" if it's there. But if it's more than one word and there's no other movie with that title, you don't have to worry about it or whatever. But, I mean, I'm a teacher, okay? At the beginning of the semester, you hand your students a syllabus. That is your rule book for the class. And everyone knows what the rules are. Everyone knows how they're being assessed. Everyone knows basically everything they need to know about the general setup of the structure of the thing that we have agreed to. And on top of it, I have to send it to the office, and they keep a copy in case any random person walks in and is like, hey, I'd love to see a copy of the syllabus for this class so I can see what it's like. Like, we don't hide them. They're out in the public. So, I don't know. I feel like I get maybe not wanting the first draft out there because it may have some issues and you may be tinkering with it quite a bit this first year because just things get written sloppily and then you realize that's not what we meant for it to say and have to fix stuff. Totally get that. But somewhere along the way, I'd love to see that rule book.
Yeah, I would too.
So the other round 3 match was the family versus Who's the Boss, which of course was dramatic from the offset because it's Bateman versus Guy, and them of course being the action guys, and of course behind the scenes being very good friends. Very dramatic. And then we have to keep in mind that all of this stuff is pre-shot, so you can very much tell that this was back when Ben Bateman was very bad off with his back. Because he was hobbling around on the, what's it called?
Golf club.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant that he was just I need a cane.
Golf stick?
Yeah, a golf stick.
A golf stick.
Crooked stick. Hit a little ball with a crooked stick, you chase it, and you hit it again into a hole. George Carlin had a bit about that. It was great.
So, I really, really did not want Guy to win. At all. Not that I wanted Bateman to win, I just didn't want Guy to win.
I wanted Yodi to win more than anything. I wanted Yodi to win. Yeah. But, but between Bateman and Guy, I'd rather Guy have won.
He's definitely more fun, but I'm just thinking, Bateman's competing hurt. He's still doing very well considering he's got to be in excruciating pain. And, the family wins, and it is what it is. Now, something did happen in that match that I thought was really funny. Dagnino came out in, I don't even know how to describe it. It was like fishing waders, sort of, or something. But he wasn't wearing a lot of clothes under it. And Emma, just sort of under her breath, and it was just a very offhand comment, said that they really need to implement a dress code for the Schmoedown. I think at a minimum, between Dagnino and Snyder, they at least need a pants rule.
Yeah, that was a little much.
I feel like if you're going to get kicked out of a convenience store because of what you're wearing, then you shouldn't be wearing it on the Schmoedown.
Well, I don't know. That's the wrestling side of it, which is fun.
Yeah, but they're also, I get that wrestling is family friendly, sort of, but they're trying to be family friendly.
He was in boxers. It's not like he was in tighty whities or anything.
I know.
Come on, Kalyn. You're a college teacher. You must just hear shit that's way crazier than that on a daily basis.
Oh my God. Speaking of which, yes. So I have this one class where I have to get onto them constantly about the stuff that they talk about, between classes when they're just sitting there in the classroom. And now they're adults, but still, I'm like, okay, we need some minimum level of decorum here, right? They were talking the other day about how there's too many restaurants like Hooters and variations of Hooters where all the women's junk is hanging out, And I told them, I was like, I listened to a podcast, which I was talking about the afternoons with Josh and Ken. And there was an episode where they were, it was actually with Amanda and Ken. And there was an episode where they were talking about, for equality's sake, you need to have a version that's male waiters.
Right.
And that they would call it moose knuckles. So
oh my gosh.
My students proceed to come up with all these different names for the male version of Hooters. And I'm just like, okay, stop it. We got to stop it. We need to get back to some math. Oh,
There's actually a chain. I don't know how big it is. I don't think it's like a huge chain, but there's one down around Cincy. I can't remember the name of it, but something kilts or kilts and something. And like, it's got like buff guy waiters and they wear kilts and supposedly nothing underneath. But I've never been there. I just heard about it maybe 6-7 years ago when it opened, and a bunch of the uppity people were getting upset about it and stuff. But I mean, that's fucking funny.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You want to go now, don't you?
No,
I can hear you
sound
typing right now, Googling it. Kilts and something or something and kilts.
Yeah, I'm scared to know what would come up if I typed that into Google. So that resulted in the finals being The Family versus Shazam.
Yeah.
And Shazam won. I wouldn't say handedly, but I mean, they stayed ahead. Yeah. I mean, they really did stay ahead.
Who's the Boss would have definitely given Shazam a bigger run for their money.
I feel like that too. I feel like Andrew Guy wasn't in it. I don't know why. I just feel like
he definitely seemed out of it.
He really did, and then at the end, he announced he was retiring from competitive play.
Yeah, like what the fuck?
Okay.
And now Christian said when they came back, Christian said that he had no idea, and you would expect him to say that, and then Ellis was like, saying how he had no idea. I could see his eyes, like, what's going on. But now I'm more inclined to believe it when Ellis says it, because Ellis I don't really, maybe he does and I don't notice, but I don't hear Ellis like play into that the storylines as much or as well as Christian. It seems like Christian's more into the storylines. What's that?
I said, I don't think Christian always tells him what's going on.
No, I don't.
Because he
verified that today on SEN Live.
Yeah, when he said that, he was like, wouldn't it be funny if Brett came to the free-for-all? And he's like, shut the fuck up.
I know, right?
Okay, but this has me thinking. Okay, Guy retired. They have not announced the 10th manager yet.
I thought about that too.
And why would they maybe not want to announce the 10th manager until now? Because that 10th manager had been a very active player up until now. So, up until now, my bet has been Perry Nemiroff. But I'm changing it. I think it's Guy. I think he is the 10th manager, and that's why they could not announce it, and they're going to announce it tomorrow.
And, man, my money's been on Sam Levine.
Ooh, that's
making a comeback into play. But I don't. But yeah, as soon as he retired, that same thing went through my head. As far as like, could he be the 10th manager?
Yeah. So I think that could be what's in store for us at Spectacular.
And so, I got something to tell you when we're off air too.
Okay. Ooh, interesting. A secret.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So Spectacular. There are 5 matches, and I want to just go through and see who we think is going to win each one.
Yep, sounds good.
And for the record, we are recording this the night before, so we have no idea how this is going to play out. Okay, so the first one is Bibbs versus Bateman.
As much as it pains me to say, I'm going to have to say Bibbs. He's so damn good. But I love Bateman's spirit. I love how hard he's worked over the last season or two. And I'd really like Bateman to beat Bibbs, but I don't know, man. Bibbs is just so damn good. It's unbelievable.
I have to say Bateman. I feel like Bateman's going to win. Bibbs gets in his own head. And I don't know. I just feel like it's going to be Bateman. Okay, so Damon versus Kelly for the Star Wars title.
Okay, now, if you would have asked me before Damon's last match, I would have, without hesitation, I would have said Damon all the way, without doubt, dude, and no second thought whatsoever. His last match was so close, and it put a chip in armor that I've not seen in that armor before. And I think I don't know. I'll be completely honest. I'm thinking Lauren Kelly is going to take it.
I still think Damon's going to hold it because I just feel like she's very, very good, but I feel like he knows that and he's going to be preparing.
I'm sorry, Laura Kelly. I really apologize, Laura. And we have her booked for next week's show too. I really apologize. My new landlord's name is Lauren. And I just met her today for the first time. So I apologize, Laura Kelly.
Well, you've never even met Laura Kelly, and you called her by the wrong name, which is fine. But you call me Sarah all the fucking time, and you
Where's
know
that
me.
mute button for you?
Okay, Sarah, count me down.
Sarah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
The counting down thing all started with her on Go Get That Rose. She counts herself down, so that's that's where that came from. So I think that's where it's the origin is just stuck in my head. But sorry about that. I will remember Kalyn.
It's fine. It doesn't bother me that much. I just have to screw with you.
I know, and I need it. I need someone to keep me in line anyway. So
okay, so the third match is going to be, if it happens, is going to be Founding Fathers versus.
Oh, wait. I'm sorry. The second match is the Star Wars.
That's what I have written down.
Okay. I'm sorry. For some reason, I had it in my head a different way. I apologize. Go ahead.
Unless I wrote something down wrong, but
no,
okay.
You're right. I just looked at my notes that I ended up writing a couple days ago. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm so damn excited for tomorrow night. I'm just like, I can't keep any of the matches in order, dude. I'm just like, I just want to watch them all. I don't care what order they're in. So,
so Founding Fathers versus Shazam. If Rocha can get it together to get there. Okay.
So here's where I've got something to say about Rocha and about all of this. Nothing bad, but I have a little prediction, I guess.
Which is?
I think that I don't know whether or not Rocha is really sick, and I'm not like saying anything bad one way. I'm just saying I don't know if he really is, because if he's not, then maybe what I'm about to suggest was planned. If he is sick, then I think that he is definitely on the upswing. He knows he will compete tomorrow night, but either way, I think they're using his illness to kind of hype up tomorrow a little bit. And what I think is going to happen, this is just my prediction, what I think is going to happen is they will announce that the Founding Fathers match will be postponed because Rocha's too sick to play. I think they're going to go the entire night doing it as if it were normal schedule, and then after the singles title, Rocha and Merle are going to come out, and Rocha's going to be like, no, fuck it, I'm doing it. Nothing's going to stop this shit. You know, like I'm doing it. I'm pushing through, and they're going to make that the headlining. And that's how they're going to make that the headlining match tomorrow night. I think that's what's going on. Whether or not he's really sick, I think that's what's going to happen. And if he is sick, then I hope you feel better, man. That really sucks. And good luck.
Yeah. I
That's
don't know
my
if he is
prediction.
or not, but I mean,
imagine how awesome that would be.
It would be. It would definitely add a new level, but you still haven't answered my question. Who is going to win the match?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so excited about my theory. I'm like, I don't care who wins. I just want them to do what I think would be cool. It's like the selfish fan I am. Or my creative part, just thinking that would be kind of cool. Let's see. I got to go with Founding Fathers, man. Merle's just, he's on top of it, dude. He's just so damn good, and Rocha also just so fucking good. And I think they're gonna keep it, man. I think they're gonna keep it, no matter who the fuck they play.
I think Shazam's gonna win just because either Rocha is sick, and I believe that he's sick. I don't know if he would pretend to be sick, but although he is an actor, and that's going to affect his gameplay, of course. So I think Shazam actually has a really good chance of winning. Bibiani is a very good player. Roca, if he is sick, will not be able to play, his little... He won't be able to be as, tough or whatever as he normally is, where he kind of smack talks a little bit and whatever, and that's not Merle's game either. So they're less likely to fluster Bibiani than Bateman. I think Bateman could fluster Bibiani. I don't know if the Founding Fathers really will. So I think Shazam has a good shot of winning. So far we are opposite to each other across the board.
Yeah. The kid, he seems to get flustered sometimes and makes little mistakes. Like for example, against the family, the and A. Mm-hmm. In the title of a movie. I can't remember what movie it was. Oh yeah, get him to... He said them. He said get them to the Greek, and it was get him to the Greek. Mm-hmm. And just anyone can make that mistake, even Merle. But I've noticed that he gets a little excited, a little flustered, and if he makes a mistake, he seems to have a harder time brushing it off as quickly as some other competitors. And he apologizes a lot to Bibiani for it, which is completely understandable, and I'm not knocking that, but I'm just saying that might maybe play into it as well.
Okay. Well, we have for the Inner Geekdom title, Kalinowski versus Smets. Who you got there?
Man, that's a tough one. Because, I've never been the biggest Kalinowski fan.
What?
But... yeah, I tend not to go for the heels, but the heels have been winning me over, and that all started with Guy. He completely won me over. But the thing I love about Kalinowski is, dude, that match with it was the one before. He's gotten emotional in a couple different matches, but that's the point, is that I've liked when he's gotten emotional and he's cried after a couple victories, and you can tell that it's not all about a character. It's not all about that. Like, he really, really wants it, and he works hard for it. Like Roca gets emotional. I love it when they get emotional and they break character, because it doesn't matter who their character is anymore. It's that they won, and they've been working for it for so long and for so hard, So I love that about him. But at the same time, I just fucking love Smets, man. And I really want to see him take his career in the Schmoedown to the next level. And in order to do that, he needs to pull out this victory against Kalinowski.
So you're saying Smets?
Yeah, I think he's going to do it, man. I think he's going to do it. He seems dialed in.
I'm saying Kalinowski.
Shame we're not putting money on this, like 5 cents a match or something. I could afford that.
Because I just can't bet against Kalinowski. I've said it before. He was the nicest person I talked to. Everyone was nice, but he talked and talked and talked to us and was so animated and so lovely. And I just can't root against him. So I'm rooting for him. I think Smets will give him a run for his money, but I have to root for Kalinowski. Yeah. Okay, so finals will be Oyama versus either Bibbs or Bateman. Now, you said Bibbs will win against Bateman, yes. So that means that in your universe, Oyama's going to play Bibbs. So who do you think is going to win that?
Man. See, I got a couple different ways of looking at this too, because on the one side, like I said about Bibbs and Bateman, Bibbs is just so fucking good. I think he definitely can go all the way here. But Oyama he's a cocky little shit, you know what I mean? And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean, his character, not him in real life, but his character, he's just a cocky little shit, and I love it. And he's good, and he's newer to the game, and it would be so exciting to see this young cat take down a Bibbs or even a Bateman if it came down to Bateman. So in my heart of hearts, I'm rooting for Oyama, but honestly, I think Bibbs is going to take it.
So who do I put down? Bibbs?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that Bateman is going to win over Oyama.
That would be amazing.
Well, and I feel like Bateman needs a victory given his year in his personal life with, having back surgery is no joke. And if he could win through all of that, that is pretty cool.
Oh, and imagine the bragging rights and shit talking when he goes on SEN Live with Kate, take that. I brought home the whole damn thing, girl.
Oh my God. Well, speaking of Kate, so this week in SEN Live was very interesting, had a lot of stuff going on in it, and a different Ben Goddard, made a joke about Kate's vagina. And it became controversial, not necessarily, not really about the joke specifically. It became controversial because it seemed like Kate was offended. She said she was not offended, and then people attacked Ben for it. Now, my personal perspective is anyone can make a joke about anything. There are words I don't like. You know that. They didn't use any of those words. But I am not offended that he made a joke about her vagina because she started it. She's the one who named it the Sarlacc pit.
Exactly.
But
if someone, if someone opens the door, then you've got every right in the world to jump right in.
But I don't think his joke was funny.
Right. Well, no, but I just wanted to. See. You didn't even catch what I just did, Kalyn Rose. I got you to admit that when someone else opens the door, then the other person has a right to jump in, just like you opened the door on the Dirty Talk those 2 episodes in a row. Therefore, I had the right to jump in. So I just wanted to get you to confirm that,
Oh, fuck you. Okay, but he had a right to make those jokes. I'm not offended by the jokes, but it was just not a funny joke. It was just not. It fell flat. He didn't hit the punchline well. And, he's not a comedian. So.
And I'm not laughing at the joke. I'm laughing because, like you said, it fell flat.
It did. So I'm not offended by it, but, the next time it needs to really hit.
Yeah.
And he's got to work his way there. And I agree 100% with what Christian said when he told us that he's like, you have to earn it. And he has not earned it yet. But also Kate posted on Twitter about it. And I said, she seemed genuinely concerned that people were attacking him over it. And I said, you need to let them attack him. He needs to build some character.
Yeah, I saw that. That's great.
Yeah. So, you're going to get attacked for stuff on the internet when you put yourself out there. So you might as well build up the tough skin now. And boy, is the Schmoebot really giving him hell. And just people in general, they really like to attack Ben.
And I missed Ellis not being on this week because I love it when the Schmoebot annoys him. It's so great.
Well, I think that people have to direct all of that energy somewhere. And we didn't have an Ellis. We didn't have a Josh Robert Thompson. And
they cleaned it up for Clark Wolf.
They did. And look, they need to have Clark on. Okay, so I have a question.
Yes.
All the time that Christian was on Collider Live, Clark was never on there. Within a week of each other. So it's only been like a month since they split. And within a week of one another, she was on both Collider Live and SEN Live.
So was Guy and Bateman, too.
Yeah. Like, why weren't these people on before? I get that the room was a little more crowded before because Christian was there and he had Kate there and he had Brett there. Well, at the beginning, he had Brett there. And he sort of pulled some of those people with him. But I mean, my God, like, this has been great.
Perhaps.
What?
Competition, perhaps.
Yeah, and it's
like, I mean, and not from like I can't see it from Christian's end, like him being like, you know, I'm booking all these same people that I'm saying, and again, not in a shitting on any way, especially Mark Fernandez kind of way. I'm not doing that, but I'm saying business is business. They are technically competitors, regardless of if you can rewatch and re-listen later. They are competitors, and I could see it as being like perhaps the thought behind that is trying to keep a connection with Christian at Collider Live. I've not paid attention to the views and stuff. I don't know if or how much the views have dropped from Collider Live since Christian's left, but perhaps that's like something to do with it. You know what I mean? They're having a lot. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
When they only had 1 week separated, I looked at all of that, and it was really kind of up and down, just depending on what they were talking about that day. For both of them, for SEN Live and Collider Live. So I don't know. I don't know, and I never paid attention to what their numbers were before, you know?
Yeah, me neither. I just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like this show here, I have no idea whatsoever how many listens we have. I don't care if it's none. I just love fucking doing this shit. I enjoy SEN and Schmoedown. I love what Christian does. It helps me out. Like so many others have said, you know, it helps out just getting through a day and not thinking about shit sometimes. And, you know, I just love doing this shit. So.
But speaking of our listeners, we forget to ever tell them this, but if you go to the Anchor app, you can leave a voice message, and the thing is, you leave it for Merc, and just you have to indicate somewhere in there where it needs to go. You could even do that in the title. And we, on this show, on our Collider Afterlife show, on our Mandalorian review show, on Talkin' Schmoedown, we could answer any of your questions or play any of your comments, whatever they are. And listen to them.
And if they're shitty ones, as long as they're not like, you know, as long as they're not stupid, foolish shit, you know. But I mean, if you want to criticize us, I'll play it and I'll respond, and I won't be a dick or nothing. But you know, give us your feedback.
So if you're one of the 3 people listening to us, then please. Am I being optimistic or pessimistic by saying we have 3 listeners?
Well, that 2 of them are my brothers. So to that one person that doesn't know any of us, thank you.
Yes. But
we do have more listeners than that. I know that for sure, but I don't know how many we have, and I don't want to know. I couldn't care less.
Well, I do have to say this week's guests were fun. The shows were fun. And okay, I never watched any iterations of Christian shows back when Bonnie Somerville was involved. I only know her as Mona from Friends. That's it.
Right. And
so when she came in there and was, first of all, flirting with my woman, which I take offense to, but I'll let it slide this one time. But it led me to a question in my head that was just screaming in my head, which was, how did the writers and producers and directors and whatever of the show Friends take this vibrant, amazing, funny, hilarious, wonderful woman and give her no fucking storyline? She had there was just nothing. She was an obstacle for Rachel and Ross not to get together while Rachel was pregnant. That's all she was. She popped up here and there. Ross talked to her for like a second, and then their breakup was dramatic because Ross was, you know, trying to also be a good baby daddy to Rachel and whatever. But they gave her she could have been a real player on that show if they had noticed, like, hey, this woman has a personality. and
Yeah.
a good one at that. So that pisses me off because I always thought Mona was sort of a throwaway character because of how not because of her, because of how they wrote her. And, how they used her in the show. And I'm just like, she could have been so much better than that. This woman is amazing.
Yeah, she's super funny. I mean, when you come out of the gate and you're like, yeah, you guys can joke about my tits. I mean, dude, girl, you're funny as hell, and it's going to be a hell of a good show.
You think Christian ever slept with her?
Oh my gosh. I don't, until you just asked me that, I've never thought that. And if I did or didn't think that, I wouldn't have anything at all to base it on, but let me think.
They did say they've known each other a couple years longer than he has been married, but I don't know if he was already with, I don't know how long he and Sadie were together, but if there was some single Christian time up in there, I wouldn't put it past him.
He and Kate were friends too, way back in the day before
I really
Christian.
don't think they ever had sex.
Well, I mean, I don't either, but I'm just saying if we're going by what you just said, then Kate would be a possibility on that list too, because she knew Christian before he was married as well.
Yeah, but just vibes. I
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
He's definitely slept with Brad.
You know what? I'm gonna say yeah. I'm gonna say yeah, and I'm gonna say that was kind of a secret, not a secret thing, but like a thing we weren't privy to when she made the joke about Christian's wife having told her that he had a sausage dick. So, I'm going to just, and it doesn't, we're just having fun goofing off here, but since you asked, I'm just going to, for the bit, I'm just going to go ahead and say, yeah, sure, they have, and that was like a little wink and a nod to Christian from her, like, yeah, your wife, a.k.a. me, said that, you got a big sausage dick. Whether or not he does is irrelevant, but sure, I'll go with it. Sure, they have. What do you think?
Well, I just felt like the energy between them was more similar to his energy with Katie Sackhoff than to Kate. And it's well known that they're exes and obviously have stayed really good friends and whatever. But once you've dated someone, you still have you just have a certain kind of energy when you're around each other, even if you're still very good friends and know the other person's significant other and all that. So I just picked up on that. I don't know if I'm just reading into something that's not there. I don't know if it's just because she's a silly and flirty kind of person. But Christian, if you want to answer that question this coming week, I'd really appreciate it.
That's our question to you. In fact, okay, I wasn't going to bring it up because I didn't want to be that guy, and I'm not going to be that guy. But since you just said that and it triggered this thought, and you know what I'm about to bring up, and
I do.
I'm not mad about it or anything. I mean, whatever. But granted, it was only $1. But when you add that $1 to the $5.99 that I paid for, that I gladly paid for the live stream tomorrow, I now have $1.01 in my checking account. So just throwing that out there. My $1 Streamlab question was not read today. And I had you listen when you listened to it to verify, and you didn't hear it, right?
I did not.
Okay, so just, whatever, scratch that question. I'm definitely going to ask it again at a later date because, I mean, I don't care what you say, Kalyn. That shit will be gold. At least it can be gold. But so Christian, if you're listening here, instead of the question that you skipped over today for my $1, here's my $1 Streamlab question. If you could please answer this. Kalyn, ask the question.
Have you ever slept with Bonnie Somerville?
See, you like how I had the female host ask that question, kind of remove myself a little bit from any controversy. So that is my $1 Streamlab question in replace of the one that you did not read today, which, by the way, would have been gold if you go back and find it. and you'll see what I mean. It would have been absolute gold. But when Winston is on again, I will most definitely ask it again. I'm not mad. I mean, shit happens. You know, you're doing a live show. Totally get it. So, but yeah.
While we're talking to Christian,
that's gonna be another soundbite I can add to all the sexual sounds that Kalyn makes that she doesn't realize she's doing while we're recording.
Do you have a little file of them that you're going to...
I know, I really don't. But like I've said, when I do the editing, I listen to each track individually all the way through. And so, like, yours is one of the funnest ones. You and David tops everybody. David tops everybody. Because I've never said this, but, like, what's going on in the background with David B is fucking awesome. Like, he sits there hitting a vape pen the whole time. You can hear the glass in his little whiskey glass shaking, and he don't hide it either. He blows those vape hits right into the mic. He knows he's doing it, and he knows I hear it because I've brought it up before. I was like, dude, were you smoking the whole time last night, like vaping? And he's like, I always do.
I noticed one time, the time that he jumped in randomly to our recording, that I could hear him like rummaging, like I could hear, like, I don't know if you can hear all this, but It sounded like he was digging through a drawer, and I'm like, what is he doing?
I'll just say it, that night was a bitch to edit his track because he was doing that while he was talking. So it's not like in between him talking. That's easy. I just highlight that crap and I delete it. You know what I mean? Like I just make it smooth as if it's just quiet. But yeah, he was doing it while he was talking, and I'm just like, man, this is rough.
That's funny.
Love you, David.
While we have Christian's attention, I did want to tell you that you've been a very odd influence on my life, because I was sitting in a faculty meeting of sorts, and something got brought up about basically like students taking bits and pieces of what you say out of context and then go and repeat it to administrators or whatever, you know, to get you in trouble, things like that. And I won't go into details of specifically what was being discussed, but it was something along those lines. And I go, you know, this is happening in comedy clubs where they are banning cell phones and stuff now, because people are doing that. They're taking one little bit of a joke and then construing it completely differently than how the joke went. And I'm telling them all about this, and it's just crickets. No one cares about what I'm saying. And I'm just like, oh, I live a different life outside of work. And I forgot.
Well, I mean, it's getting so crazy. Pete Davidson, we found out this week, made his fans sign a $1 million NDA before his show.
Okay,
and this
one.
is like after having bought the ticket and before admittance to the show.
First of all, don't know if that's going to hold up in court, because
if you sign it,
you know what I
mean? I mean,
I don't know.
Contracts written on a napkin are valid if you sign it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly. I feel like a good lawyer could get you out of it somehow.
True. A good lawyer can do anything.
But what are our thoughts on having cell phones in comedy stores, concerts, movies, etc.? It's the same as a teacher. Even though what I'm making is not an art, I'm still in some sense performing, and you say things that if you clip it, I don't teach something controversial. So I teach math, which, I mean, it makes students cry sometimes, but it's not controversial in and of itself.
Right.
But you could be teaching a class with very sensitive subject matter where things
what
are
if
going.
A square decides it wants to transition into a circle.
Oh, you hush. But you could, where there are very sensitive topics being discussed, and you're trying to make certain points, which means that you may say a sentence that if you just clip out that one sentence, you sound like a racist or homophobic or crazy lunatic. And that's not the point. The point was you were trying to say, like, some people would argue this, and you're explaining it. So for that reason, every time he talks about this, I feel for them on a personal level, because I don't let students record me, because God knows what little random comment I say or another student says that if you just clipped it out, you know, I could be fired or that student could be reprimanded, but that's not really what happened.
Right.
And so I feel for them on a very personal level. And as far as cell phones, like in concerts, I mean, it's whatever. Everyone's being loud and rambunctious and crazy and whatever. I don't think that's a huge deal. Movie theaters, it's just annoying.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But in terms of comedy shows, anything where you are discussing something that could be sensitive, that could be misconstrued, or another reason why I don't like things being recorded is it's distracting. Like, you're sitting there trying to say something and you have a camera pointed at your face and you're all of a sudden like, wait, what? Like, and you weren't prepared to have a camera pointed at your face. So I don't like them.
I in my mind, there's a huge difference between an educator and an artist, such as a comedian or a musician. Completely two different arenas in my mind. And I know exactly what you're talking about, and I think that students now, like how they do the locking your phones in a Ziploc bag before comedy shows, I'm okay with that if it's like at the comedy shop or the comedy store, and little place where, like Christians talk about, you're working out your material. Put them, lock up the phones in classrooms, college classrooms, and stuff like that. They should do the same thing. At the door, lock up your phones. You are here to learn and be educated. So that part of it aside, comedy shows, like when you're on, like Kate was saying, you're on the low, like you're not working out your shit. This is your show. This is like a musician, and you are done with the garage band practice, and you're out there on the road, and this is the final product of your art you are presenting to the people. Okay, so if I pay for that as a fan, then it's my prerogative, right or wrong, and whether or not other people like it and whether or not I like it when other people do it. It's each person's prerogative to spend that that hard-earned money that they spent on that ticket however they choose to spend it. A comedy show, yes, ideally everyone will just put their phones away and just be in the moment and enjoy it in the moment. But that's not the way it goes. Now, if you wanna do the whole bag thing and locking up the phones like Dave Chappelle does at the actual shows, I don't care. Like, I'm against doing that really, but if you want to tell people you have to do this or you can't come in, then let it be on them. And if they choose not to, do the refund. The only issue I have with that really is, if I say I lock up my phone and I miss a call that someone was in a bad accident and I'm sitting in there laughing my ass off while they're dying and I could have been there to see them in their last moments. Like, that's an extreme situation, I understand. But it's those kind of thoughts in the back of my head that occur there. But, I would be more inclined, whatever, But I don't think you should lock the phones up. I think that's stupid. Now, at concerts especially, give me a break. Perfect example, that Aaron Lewis, the singer from the old 90s band Stained, okay?
Yeah.
He is – I'm going to say it. He's such a fucking whiny little bitch, man. There are so many videos of him on YouTube doing his show. He's up there solo with this fucking acoustic guitar, which I'm not knocking on fucking acoustic guitars because I play one. But I'm just saying he's up there with this fucking acoustic guitar doing solo shit. He stops in the middle of shows and like starts fucking berating people for being on their phones. Now, I can understand like talking on your phone, verbally talking on your phone. That's annoying as fuck. But I mean, as an artist, don't ever stop your fucking performance for one or two or three or four people out of fucking thousands who paid their money and traveled there to see your show. But this guy, man, he'll stop in the middle of a song. He'll point people out. He'll bitch about it. He'll whine and cry about he's like, you know, I'm up here playing my art. I'm presenting you my art. Put your fucking shit down and listen to me. Wow, bitch. I paid for my fucking ticket. And if I want to text with someone or even do my social fucking media while you're up there playing, I will fucking do it. Fuck you. Play your shit and shut up. You've already got my money. And that shit kills me. I hate those kind of musicians who do that shit. I hate anybody who does that shit. Oh, you paid me, but look at me, look at me. Just take my money, do your job, and shut the fuck up. Now I'm not excusing assholes and people who are disrespectful. That's beside the point, though. The point is you've got thousands or hundreds or thousands of other people who aren't being disrespectful, who are there and who are appreciating and enjoying your art. It's about them. It's not about the handful of dicks who are annoying you. Let them be dicks. Do your thing, man. Do your thing. Now, movie theaters, of course, fuck that shit, dude. You know, people being on a phone in a movie theater, that's where I draw the line.
The problem there is everyone can see it, and it's so distracting. But I do want to clarify something. I was equating being a teacher more so to like the Comedy Store, that kind of aspect.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Everything's brand new every time.
Yeah. Not to mention, you're there to be educated. You know, put all the stupid distractions down. Be educated.
Well, there are even students who just want to record the audio of the class so they have it to listen to later. Like, they're not playing on their phone. They literally just turn on, like, and I even don't like that because you just never know, you know, and we're all human. We make mistakes. We say something we didn't mean to say, or you have, like, there's certain students you can joke with because you've built up a rapport with them. But if you just play the joke offhand, it sounds like you're being mean to them or something, you know, but it's really a continuation of an inside joke that's been going on all semester or something, you know? So that sort of thing. Now, at an actual comedy show, it depends. If there's like 30 people in a very intimate setting, or I guess if there's 30 people, then it's not much of a show. But you get what I mean. Like if it's an intimate more kind of show, I don't like the cell phone thing only because things are probably a little quieter, a little calmer, and you're going to be distracting more like in a movie theater. But
like
not
a coffee shop acoustic set.
Yeah, like that. Like if the person next to you has their phone out, you're going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? But if you're at a Dave Chappelle show or one of these where it's going to be one of those huge theaters sold out, I mean, like, there's just no way that's just thousands upon thousands upon thousands of people. You're not going to be able to control that any more than you can control a concert. So, and the whole Pete Davidson thing, the fact that not just that they can't record it, they're not allowed to talk about it.
That's like, what's real bullshit.
Like
you're not allowed to critique me.
Yeah, and how are people going to recommend, like, oh, he's a great comedian, or, oh, he
Should I go see his show? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, did you enjoy it? I don't know. You know, like... No. And just the fact that, like, well, it's all because when he was in Florida and he said retard when he went off on the crowd and it went viral. And he took a bunch of shit for that. And I think now he's, like, well, if I can try to make it to where they can't even talk about what I said, and it's just, one, it seems extremely reactionary, and two, it's just like, it's just, dude, calm down. Dude, people are going to say shit. Don't be so fucking sensitive. It's like, it kind of comes off like he doesn't want to have his feelings hurt in public.
Yeah, he seems like a whiny little titty baby to me.
Right. I like that. Never heard it before, but I like it.
Never heard what?
Titty baby.
You never heard a titty baby?
Nope.
Like a crybaby?
No. Have you ever heard of a poop knife?
No.
I heard about this tonight at my buddy's before I was at my buddy's before I came to record, and he told me a story about a poop knife.
Okay, I'm not going to ask. But seriously, you've never heard the phrase titty baby?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, obviously I've heard you suckling at the teat and stuff like other kind of references, but I've specifically titty baby, no, never.
Well, it's something people say, like when you're being a whiny little biatch. You're being a titty baby.
It is funny as hell, though, when Finstock says bitch tits. It cracks me up every fucking time.
Hey, I have a random question for you. What do you call the thing that you push around the grocery store and put groceries in?
Shopping cart.
Oh.
What do you call it?
A buggy.
Oh, right on. See, no, the buggy, for us, the buggy would be like literally like a little plastic kind of thing that you would push your kid in.
Yeah. No, a buggy is the thing that you push around the store and fill with groceries. Or whatever. Clothes, wherever you're shopping. Yeah, it's a buggy. We say lots of things down here.
That's cool.
So this was an interesting week in SEN Live. They talked about a variety of things. They spent. I find that the big deviation from Collider Live seems to be that they spend far less time actually talking about whatever the news is of the day,
which I love.
I know. I don't really care. I mean,
I couldn't give a fuck less about the news.
Well, I would rather hear about their lives and what's going on with them, and whatever happened that day, or them arguing over tuna mac. That's shit. I can't believe he got Winston to try the tuna mac.
So fucking gross. That dude, nothing belongs in mac and cheese. Nothing. Well, I
don't like mac and cheese, so.
Oh, you're crazy.
I'm sorry. I just don't. And so I don't really care what you put in it, but I'd rather you just throw it all in the trash can. So, but I want Winston and Kate back together.
Yeah, me too. Texas Gold.
Fave. They are my fave.
Black Gold Texas tea.
What?
Yeah, remember when she said something about her bouteille, and he referenced it as black gold and Texas tea?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That happened last week when they were on together.
Okay, I don't remember this for some reason. But
Texas tea.
Before we wrap up, I do have to I do have to say, Clark Wolf is delightful.
Yes. And so great.
I love the fact that she can be as negative can be, but she's going to be smiling and polite. Yeah. She's going to say please, and she's going to, say no thank you. It's just so cute. I really want her, Kate, and now Bonnie on all at the same time and just harass the shit out of Christian. That's what I want.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun.
Send all the guys home and just let them beat up on Christian. No, we gotta leave Ben Goddard there so Bonnie can make him turn red some more.
Oh, that was great.
And I don't know what's going on with his hair. He needs the top of it cut or something, because it was going crazy.
He does look like old girl from Orange Is the New Black. Boom. That was a good call. As soon as that was said, I was like, yeah.
That was so freaking funny. And I love that he didn't know who it was. He had to look it up.
And you could tell he knew it was true, but he just wouldn't admit it. He couldn't bring himself to admit it.
Oh. Well,
So good.
I'm looking forward to the Spectacular, and I'm looking forward to this coming week, so I just can't wait to see what happens.
Yeah. Yep. And they did as always, we pick out a couple of viewer questions. I was about to say they did a couple of viewer questions. I was like, dude, the whole show is viewer questions, which I love. I really love how the Christian has set up the format of the viewers dictating the conversation more so, and it's really cool. But we every week we select a couple that we pose to ourselves questions. And Kalyn, you didn't remember this one coming in, but I can't remember the context. But someone had asked what the favorite solo musicians are to listen to. What'd you come up with?
I just don't even know. I am all over the place when it comes to music. And of course, you picked questions about music. Because to give you an idea of how all over the place I am with music, this is what I was listening to this morning on my car ride to work. Hang on, let me pull up the list. I know I was listening to some Ludacris, and I was listening to some, like, modern country music, and I was listening to some Lizzo, and I was listening to some Alanis Morissette, and I was listening to No Doubt, and, let's see, song history. Mike Posner, Demi Lovato, I said Ludacris, Dierks Bentley, Luke Combs, Dierks Bentley, Blake Shelton, the Goo Goo Dolls. Like, I'm all over the place. This is
I saw them once. Terrible.
Taylor Swift. Well, I just find random songs I like. I'm like, I like this song. I don't know who this is, but I like this song.
Cool.
Oh,
That's cool.
yesterday I was listening to Christmas music. I don't know. I'm all over the place. And I don't follow any, like, I'm not a CD collector or a record collector or anything. I just find random songs I like. And so I just suck at answering this question.
Well, I got 4, and they're the top 4 solo that I listen to in this order. Adele, I fucking love Adele so much. Christina Perri, still one of the most fun concerts I've ever been to.
Still don't know who that is.
She's great. I'll send you, after we're done here, for real, I'll send you a link to one of her songs. She's so amazing. Frank Sinatra and Harry Connick Jr.
Ooh, Harry Connick Jr. is amazing live. You got to see him in concert if you ever can.
Oh, I want to bad. Ooh, James Taylor, too. I fucking love James Taylor.
I figure you were going to say one time you talked about someone, the son of someone.
Third.
Hank the Third. Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely in there, too. I've seen him a lot live. So fun. One time I saw him live, and I've got it on video, too. It was in Indianapolis. Because he didn't care if fans recorded, so I'd bring in, like, an actual camcorder, a handheld camcorder, like, that fits in the palm of your hand, and I'd record shows and shit. This is in 2006. And, was in Indianapolis, and I just happened to zoom in on him right at this moment. And he's doing a song, and then he goes over to his stack, which is the speakers and amp, where he plugs in his guitar and all that stuff. He picks something up, comes back up, like, and he does something with it, and I never really paid attention, but my buddy, he knows what's going on more than I do sometimes. He knew right away, and he's like, dude, he's doing coke right there. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, watch, rewind it. And clear as day, you know how, like, in some of the movies, people have, like, it's like some sort of little capsule thing, and they break it in half and then sniff?
Yeah.
That's what he did, and it was full of coke.
He did cocaine on stage?
Yeah, dude. And smokes joints on stage instead, which is a lot less than, as far as category stuff than coke. But yeah, like, he busts it open and he sniffs it, and then they're still playing, and it's in the instrumental part, but the verse or chorus is getting ready to come up. He sniffs it, and then, I shit you not, this is exactly what it sounded like. and that was it, dude. And then like, about 20 seconds later, he went right back into singing the song again, and it's just like, yep, good call, dude. He totally did blow right there, dude. And that whole little gibberish bit right after was great. But I've seen him do a lot of kick-ass shit at live shows. Good times. But yes, Hank 3.
As a Hank Williams, that is not surprising at all.
Yeah. Hank Sr. is the fucking master. I think Hank Sr.'s mojo skipped over Hank Jr. and went right to third. I'm not the biggest Jr. fan. My dad is a huge Jr. fan, so I grew up listening to Jr., but Hank Williams and Hank 3, man, they strike the chord for me.
Well, they're all kind of known for their partying, I suppose.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that doesn't shock me all that much.
Man,
Although I know
I'm trying so I'm not going to do it, but you don't understand like how hard I'm having to restrain myself from just like going into about a 15-minute rambling session about shit that happened at Hank 3 shows, dude. Because I mean, fucking a lot of crazy cool shit, dude, at multiple ones. Awesome.
Spread the stories out. We'll reserve them for future episodes.
Sounds good. That was number one.
Again. Anytime we bring up music, you tell a Hank the Third story.
Sounds good. I know we both just. I'm gonna leave that in too. We'll do anyway. That was. Is that Kalyn? Did we just have our first like one-on-one uncomfortable silence with each other?
Yes, I was like, is he gonna lead us into the next thing, or am I?
Oh, I was waiting for you to tell me that I'm looking good today. Completely different, uncomfortable silence. Off, Kalyn. Now I'm going to look like a complete jerk off.
Why?
Nothing. I don't know. I don't know what's going on right now.
Well, we maybe should just end it right here.
No, we got one more thing to go, and it has to do with music too. Because they were also talking about best road trip songs, and one of them said "Freebird," which was one I would have said right away. Great song.
I don't know if I've ever heard "Freebird" all the way through.
Oh, it's a great song. But I put down "Uneasy Rider." That song's great.
Oh my god.
And anything by the Grateful Dead and Golden Oldies, just like put it on the Golden Oldies station and let it play. I'm
thinking like Journey.
I thought Journey too.
I love me some Don't Stop Believing.
Yeah, I do too. And Faithfully. I've been singing. I've had Faithfully stuck in my head for about a week now. It's just, I love the song, but it's annoying the hell out of me.
You're like, I want to sing something else.
Yeah.
Other good, if the other person in the car knows the words, some more good music is Queen and any sort of Disney animated soundtrack like The Lion King.
Okay. Right on, man. Cool, dude. That's cool.
I was expecting you to say no to that.
Well, I mean, I'm just trying to be nice. You know, Mama said you ain't got nothing nice to say. Don't say nothing at all.
That's from Bambi.
Thanks very much. The movie that scarred my life forever and turned me off to Disney animated classics. That's cool.
But most mornings while we get ready for work, we listen to various Disney songs.
Yeah, that's cool. And you got the new baby too. So I'm sure I'm sure she's really liking that, even though she's a baby. She's liking it, and then she's going to grow up, and Lion King, Simba's Pride is going to be her favorite movie of all time. And
so just today, Darren was telling me, so one of us will start singing a song and the other one will pick it up, like, and it may be 30 seconds later or something, but just because you heard the other one singing it. And he said it's funny because he'll start singing and then he always hears me singing back up. Even if I'm like across the house, he can hear me singing
awesome.
it. Yeah.
That's great.
And it's funny, sometimes we'll both start singing a song at the same moment that we were not singing prior. And I don't know, it's like when you're with someone for so long, you just start reading each other's mind.
Yeah, I can see that. One more that just popped in my head is Wagon Wheel by Old Crow Medicine Show. Love that song. That's a song I used to play for mic check when I've played a few shows of my music and shit, but that's a song I would play as my mic check for my mic check. So love that song.
I think I've heard their version once, but I've of course heard the Darius Rucker version 700 million times.
So fucking terrible.
It wasn't too bad the first like 20 times, but once you hear like it played and played and played, and at some point I'm like, I'm tired of this song. Radio stations ruin songs.
Yes, they sure do. Terrible.
But it was a Bob Dylan song, right? But he had only written a part of it. Am I right?
Wheel?
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that.
He had written the Rock Me Mama part, but he had not written the verses. He had written the chorus. And it was incomplete. And then, what's that band you just mentioned?
Old Crow Medicine Show.
Yeah, they finished the song.
I'm going to have to look into that. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to check that out, see what's going on.
I think it's Bob Dylan. I could be wrong about the artist, but it was definitely called Rock Me Mama.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So,
sweet.
Now you have some homework.
Hell yeah. Thanks a lot, Teach.
It's due by 5 p.m. on Tuesday.
Yep, whatever. And hell, guys, on that note, thanks for listening this week. Thanks for listening every week, and come back next week. Kalyn, where can the folks find you out on the social media?
They can find me on Twitter at KalynRose715. That's KalynRose 715.
And y'all can find me on the Twitter at J Wade 1134. That is the letter J, WADE 1134. You can find this show as well as others on the Merc with the Movie blog feed on Anchor, as well as all of your other podcasting platforms, and on our YouTube channel, Merc with the Movie blog. You can follow Merc with the Movie blog on Twitter at MovieBlogMerc, and check out the website, mercwithamovieblog.com. Thanks a lot for joining us, everybody. Next week, we've got Laura Kelly scheduled to be on, and we will talk with her about the big Schmoedown event tomorrow, and we'll find out what happened. And I'm excited. I know you are, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be fun to get to talk to her, and whatever happens, we'll get her perspective on it then. So come back next week, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Be safe out there.